Hey you guys, welcome back and welcome if you are new. My name is Sam and welcome to my channel. This week I am starting out with something super easy. We had a grocery shopping day today, so I just opted for something super quick and easy. So we made BLTs. I just threw some fries in the air fryer and cooked up some bacon on the stove, used up some of my leftover sourdough bread, and dinner was done. It took less than 15 minutes and dinner was on the table and it was absolutely delicious. So good. Alright, so today we're going to be making some ribs. It's the same method that I use all the time, but we're going to switch up the spices. So I've got two of these marinade spices here. I've got a mojito lime and a mesquite, and I'm just going to mix these up in a bowl, and then I'll come back and we'll get this all glazed and ready to go. Alright, so I've got that all mixed together and I've got it sitting to the side. I'm going to be using yellow mustard as a binder today. And I'm just going to add a little bit. You're not going to be able to taste it, but it's just going to help the seasoning stick. Okay, so I'm going to add half of the seasoning to this side, and then I'm going to flip it over and sprinkle over some more seasoning and mustard on the other side, and then we'll get this in the oven. Alright, so the other half of the spice mixture is going right on the top. Now I've got my oven set to 325 degrees, and I'm going to just get this on here, and I'm going to let this sit for about 10 minutes, just so that meat can soak up all of this delicious seasoning. While the oven preheats, it's got just a couple of more minutes. And then we'll get this covered up in some more foil, put this in the oven, covered for about an hour and 45 minutes. Alright, now we're going to make our salad. I'm going to make my roasted broccoli and citrus salad. It's so easy and delicious. You're going to love it. So I've just got some oranges. You can use any kind that you want, clementines, blood oranges, whatever. They all work well, and I just got them segmented. And to this, I'm going to add some salad greens. This is a spinach mix. Okay. So I've got that in there, and I'm going to add my broccoli. Now this is broccoli that I've just seasoned with some olive oil, salt, and pepper, and roasted for about 15 minutes. Went in, tossed it, cooked it for another 20 minutes. So I'm just going to add that right on top, as well as some toasted walnuts. You can do pecans if you want. And I just toasted them in a dry pan. And I'm just going to add these right on top. Now, as far as this goes, this is pretty much done, but I'm going to cover this with some plastic wrap, pop this in the refrigerator, and then we'll dress it before we serve it. For the dressing for the salad, I'm going to make a lemon honey style vinaigrette. I've got the zest of 1 lemon and the juice of 2 lemons in here. And I'm going to season that up with a little bit of salt and pepper. Now, as for mustard, you can do Dijon or stone ground. I'm going to do stone ground today. About a tablespoon. And I'm just going to give that a little whisk together. And now I'm going to add in about 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. And that is pretty much done. Now I'm just going to cover this with some plastic wrap, pop this in the fridge along with the salad, and then we will dress the salad just as soon as dinner is ready. Alright, these have been cooking for an hour and 45 minutes, and I just took them out and carefully removed the aluminum foil, and I cut them up into little rib sections and kind of coated them in the sauce. Now I'm going to pop these under the broiler just for a few minutes just to kind of set that sauce, and then these will be ready to go. Alright, you guys, here is my plate. I just added some side salad to go with that. I just mixed that salad dressing up with the salad and kind of tossed it together. Make sure it was nice and well coated. And my daughter wanted some pasta salad to go along with this, so I cooked some of that up. And this was absolutely delicious. Those ribs had a nice little kick to them. They were so good. And this meal was absolutely delicious and very filling. Alright guys, today we're going to be making another Molly recipe. This is her pancetta, kale, and white bean melts. They're really good. I've got some sourdough that I've just got sliced up ready to go over here. And I've got my oven preheated to 500 degrees. So while that is going on preheating, we're going to go ahead and start on the topping for the melts. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my stove on to about medium low and let that start heating up. Alright, so we're going to be deviating from her recipe just slightly, kind of using what I have on hand. Now her recipe calls for pancetta. I have bacon, so we're going to add some bacon to the pan. We're going to let this get all nice and crisp. It should take about 5 to 7 minutes. Alright, now that this bacon is nice and crisp, I'm going to go in and add in some kale. I just keep this in the freezer. And some garlic, some fennel, a little bit of salt, and some pepper. And I'm just going to stir this up. And I'm going to let this kale wilt down. It will take just a few minutes. Okay, that kale is nice and wilted, so I'm going to add in some white beans that I've drained and rinsed and give this a stir. I'm going to cut my heat off, and I'm just going to let the skillet warm the beans through. If you have a non-stick, just leave it on low until everything gets nice and warmed through. In the meantime, I'm going to switch places with this and the bread. And we'll add some ingredients to the bread and get this in the oven. Okay, to the bread, I've just added some Dijon mustard, and I'm just going to spread this out evenly. And instead of using provolone, I'm going to be using mozzarella. So I'm going to add a little bit of that to the top of that bread. And now I'm just going to add this kale and bean mixture to the top of this toast, or to this bread, as evenly as I can. All right. And now I'm just going to top it with more cheese. And now this is going to go in the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes, just until this cheese is nice and melted, and then this will be done. All right, you guys, here is my plate. I love these toasts. They are so easy to make, and they're very filling. They're so good. And I had some leftover salad from the day before, so I just served that along with that on the side, and this was super easy, quick, and very delicious. All right, you guys, today I'm going to be making a pork butt for dinner. This is going to cook low and slow. I'm going to make my spicy pulled pork. We're going to have some pulled pork tacos for dinner today. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started. Now, if you don't want to cook this low and slow in the oven, you can put this in the crock pot, reduce the liquid measurement down to about 1 cup, because the pork butt is going to create its own juices in a crock pot. and then let it cook for about 10 to 12 hours. But we're going to do this in the oven today, and it's going to cook for about 5 hours. So I've got everything ready to go. I've already got one side of my pork butt seasoned. So we're going to go ahead and get this done and in the oven. So to start, I've got 2 onions that I've just got quartered, and these are going to cook down and get nice and jammy and delicious. So we're just going to add that right in there. I've got a couple of cloves of garlic, a bay leaf, and I've got some chipotle peppers here in adobo, and I just blitz them in the food processor or blender, and they blend up nicely and they keep for a really, really long time. So I'm just going to add a little bit to the top. You can add as much or as little as you want. And I'm just going to spread this all over the top of this pork roast. I've got some brown sugar here. Now, if you don't want this kind of like a sweet and spicy type thing, you can leave the brown sugar out and just add some more spices to it. I'm going to add some brown sugar. I've got about 1/4 cup in there. And now we're just going to season this up with salt and pepper. You want to season it pretty liberally. Now, keep in mind, with the salt, you can always add more salt later if you need it. And then some pepper. Now, I go a little heavy-handed on the pepper because we love spicy food. And lastly, I've got some beef broth here. I'm just going to add this right in. Okay. And I've got my oven preheated to 300 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and attach the lid to this. We're going to pop this in the oven. We're going to let it cook for 2.5 hours. We're going to come back. We're going to flip this over so it gets nice, even cooking on both sides. We're going to put it back in the oven for another 2.5 hours. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Alright, you guys, here is my plate. Now, I completely forgot to get a recording of the pork when it came out of the oven. All I did was took the fat cap off and shredded it up. It's so delicious. And I just toasted up some tortillas, and I added the pulled pork into the tortillas with some lettuce, tomato, some pickled onions, and some barbecue sauce, and those were so, so good. And I made some pasta salad to go along with that. But that is going to wrap up this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.